We record these meditation videos in the morning. So, just a reminder that, because it is the morning or whatever time of day, if it's a situation where you think you're going to fall asleep, I would say sit up. But at the same time, if maybe you've had a really restless night or you've got something going on and it's going to feel better to lay down, lay down. And, on the sleep factor, yes, ideally in meditation, we would like to be awake and alert, although calm. However, if your body is in a place where it needs sleep and rest and the central nervous system has been upset, then, if you were to fall asleep, maybe that would be the best thing that happened if we can talk you into a relaxed state like that. So, you know, that's all to say, find the position that is right for you today, at this moment. Do look for or feel your spine elongate. We always, always, always in meditation want that elongated spine, so that all of the channels, all of the fluid, all of the tissues, all of the everything has complete freedom to flow and do what it needs to do within the body. So I like the mindfulness exercise of bringing my awareness down to the S1 and the L5. That is to say, where your sacrum, the top of your pelvis, comes into the first of your lumbar spine. And you can do this lying down or seated or standing or etc., right? But I want you to imagine that your L5 just really gently lifts off of your S1, and then lift your L4 off of your L5 and your L3 off of your L4, etc., right? And then when you get to that L1, the top of the lumbar, we go into the thoracic, which is considered your T12, the base of that. So we start to lift the T12 off of the L1. And then we do that through each of the thoracic vertebrae, lifting each one off of the one underneath it. Now, can you feel each of these individual pieces of vertebrae? I'm not sure. I'm sure there probably are some yogis or people who can. But we know approximately where they are. And through that lifting and that awareness, I do believe that we start to bring benefit and space to the area. Right about at the C7, that's the bottom of your neck curve, your cervical spine, and where it and the thoracic spine connect, there's a little bump on the back of your neck you might have felt at some point. You could even put your hand up there and feel until you feel that little bump that kind of comes out just at the top of the shoulders-ish, somewhere right in there. That's your C7. So lift your C7 off of your T1 and then go up each of the neck vertebrae, lengthening the neck vertebrae one at a time. The very top, the atlas, is approximately between your ears. And now that you have that elongated spine and each of the discs have moved off of the one underneath it, hopefully those discs can fatten and plump up, and all of the messages and fluids that need to run through those, right, have their space. And today we're going to use a method in our journey towards relaxation and mindfulness, where when we scan through the body, I'll have you just really, really gently squeeze or start to contract those muscles. We'll hold them in contraction for a little bit, and then we'll soften them. And for some friends, this allows the body to find complete relaxation, having had a little bit of tension. So I'm going to bring you down to your feet first today, your feet and your toes. And just first bring the awareness down there. We're not doing anything yet except for noticing the feet and the toes. And as you notice them, you're noticing any sensation that might be happening, pulsing. throbbing pins and needles, numbness, temperature. Any form of energy in that part of the body. And now, again, it's gentle. You're not going to go really crazy with this. You're going to really gently start to pull your toes in just a little bit, like you're folding them in towards the sole of the foot, and even let the sole of the foot just have a little bit of tension throughout it. Maybe as if you were trying to get some sand in between your toes at a beach. And you're going to hold that little bit of gentle tension and just notice how this feels in the body. And still breathing nice and deeply, that soft belly breath. Take one more inhale here with the tension in the toes and the feet. And then go ahead and release that and soften every single muscle. And awareness in the sensations of how the feet feel after doing that. If anything's changed or if it's the same as when we started, bringing our awareness into the feet and the toes. And then going kind of the opposite way, I want you to try to pull your toes back towards the top of your feet, gently, gently, gently. If your feet were on the ground, I would say lift your toes off the earth, right? And again, you might even feel a little bit of tension, or try to see if you can get baby contraction across the top of your feet. And holding onto that tension. And then go ahead and release that. And again, just noticing the feet and the toes and what's happening in there. And anytime that you wander off or the mind takes you somewhere else, it's totally okay. We'll just come back to where we are in the body and begin to play with the sensation coming back into the body, being in touch with what's happening in our body. And if emotions and things come up, it's okay to let them come up. So next we're going to go ahead and we're going to move our awareness into our legs, and the legs as a whole, both the lower legs and the upper legs, the knees, the ankles. And again, first, just without doing anything, we're just noticing sensation in that area. Noticing what's happening there. On this beautiful body that houses these beautiful souls. And now you're going to go ahead and I'd like you to contract just really gently, almost like you're going to bend your knees a little bit, right? They might already be bent, but just meaning you can feel your calves contract, the hamstrings contract. See if you can't even get the quads on the front side of the thighs, just to lightly contract. And as you contract those muscles through the legs, you're going to hold that and notice the sensations of what it feels like to have tension or contraction. Keeping that nice, soft, smooth belly breath. Take one more inhale with the tension in the legs. And if the feet and the toes join that party, it's totally okay. And then go ahead and release all of the tension, just nice and easy. Let it melt away. And bring your awareness into your legs now without that tension in them. And again, if other physical sensations come up in the body, you know, and the thing about emotions is emotions have physical sensations that usually go with them. So when the emotions come up, you can notice the physical sensations as well. And breathe into them, just like we're doing in the legs and the feet. So now bring your awareness into your buttocks. And you might even think about the front of the hips. So if I were going to have you lift your leg, if you were going to take a walk, say, Yeah. Try to get the front of those legs, the psoas. We talk about those a lot in our asana classes, just a little contraction there. But can you also contract your buttocks on the back side of the hips? So now we're in that hip region, contracting the muscles through the hips. And again, if you get the other muscles, if legs contract a little bit with that, if the belly contracts, it's okay. Don't worry about it. But hold the contraction through that area, that little bit of tension or tightness through the pelvis. And then inhale while you're holding. And exhale, go ahead and release that. Release the buttocks, release the front of the hips, and let everything soften entirely. And notice all of the sensations that are now running through that area, if they're the same or different. And it doesn't always have to be a comparison or a contrasting. It can just be a observation. This is what they feel like at this moment. And then bring your awareness up into your belly and your low back. And again, first just bringing awareness there, noticing what it's like just as it is at this moment. And then very gently, we've got that corset that runs around the body. You might think of that corset just really gently starting to contract and pull in. So it pulls the low back towards the center of the body. It pulls the side waist in towards the center of the body, and it pulls the front, the belly, in towards the center of the body. If you're sitting, you might even feel how you get a little taller or longer, and try to keep that light, gentle tension in. Still breathing, noticing when the belly can't move as much, the breath is harder to deepen. And take an inhale. And exhale, release that tension in the low back and the belly and anywhere else that it came in. And with the body being entirely soft, just noticing what sensations are happening in that area now, in this moment. And when we get to these relaxed states, if you happen to notice that, oh, geez, my foot is still turned on or my shoulders are tense, soften those as well. And then bringing your awareness up into that middle rib cage area. And again, just a light tension, almost like if I were to put my hands on the outside of your ribs, right? I would just really gently move your ribs in towards the center, including the back and the front body. So just feel that little bit of tension through the kidneys and the diaphragm area, right? And again, you might notice that we're starting to tense the respiratory system a little bit. So it might be a little more shallow of a breath, and that's okay. Just notice that if that's the case for you. Keeping the tension. Take an inhale. And with an exhale, go ahead and release all of the tension through the middle of the body and anywhere else that you feel it in your body. And scanning particularly through that middle rib cage area, just noticing what that feels like once we release that tension. Now you might notice that your breath can deepen again as you have the capacity to move the ribs again. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring that awareness up into the chest and the upper back. And so right in the center of all of that is the heart center. So maybe just pausing for a moment and just feeling inside that heart, right? Inside the actual heart, but also the center of that heart center area. I just said a lot of centers. And notice how it feels in there today. Don't be afraid of anything that comes up. That is part of being human. And then just with a little bit of tension again, if I could, I would put my hands on the upper part of your rib cage, right? And I would wrap my hands around you and I would so gently move your ribs, the top of the ribs in towards each other and pulling that heart back just a little bit, but also from the back side of the body, pulling it forward. So everything moves into a center point in your body and you have that little bit of tension. You might even feel your shoulder blades contract in towards one another, towards the spine, just for these few moments. All of the contractions and the tension are gentle. One more breath here, inhale. And then exhale. Now release all of that tension and let the heart have its space back. The lungs have their space back. And noticing how it feels in this moment in that upper body. And next, we're going to take the shoulders all the way down to the wrists, so the entirety of the arms. And again, we're not doing anything yet. We're not tensing those muscles yet. We're just noticing the body. I mean, there's so many things happening with this. We're moving into our interoceptive sense and feeling what it feels like in our body and becoming aware of that, right? The more we do that, the less depression, anxiety, and stress we have. That's one of the things, one of the big things. Go ahead and tense the shoulders, the arms, right? Biceps and triceps, and maybe a little bend in the elbows so you can find that a little more, if that helps, and feeling your forearms tense up just a little bit. And if it goes into the hands and the fingers, that's okay, but let the concentration, the awareness be in the arms and the shoulders, just contracting gently and lightly. And feel what it's like with the contraction. Notice the contrast of being released and being tense. And inhale. And then with your exhale, go ahead and release. Release all of those muscles through the shoulders and the arms. And noticing how those parts of the body feel at this moment. And then bring your awareness into your hands and your fingers. And first, just noticing any energy or sensation in that part of the body. And then nice and gently, you're going to go ahead and you can roll your fingers into, very gentle fists, and the thumbs might come in, tensing the hands and the fingers and contracting the muscles in that area. Noticing if it brings up any emotions for you when you ball your hands into fists. Noticing anything else that might be happening. It might just be physical sensation. And then go ahead and release and let that go and soften all of the muscles through your hands and your fingers. And again, noticing how the hands and the fingers feel when we release the tension. And whether or not that sensation maybe might be different than when we first brought our awareness into them. And then we're going to do those upper shoulders, the neck, and the face all together. So don't tense yet, but bring your awareness into those parts of the body. Check into the upper line of the shoulders, check into the neck and the throat, the inside of the mouth, right? The jaw, the tongue, the gums, the teeth, the eyeballs, the forehead, all of those areas. Even the scalp. And then with the gentlest, slightest tension, you're going to go ahead and maybe those shoulders move up to the ears a little bit. Maybe your neck gets a little tight. Maybe you scrunch all the muscles on your face and you try to make a little face as little as you can. My voice is because I'm making a little face. And as you scrunch all the way in, even your scalp getting tense, the back of the neck getting tense. Notice how that feels in the body. Take an inhale and exhale, release all of that tension and let it just melt right out of your body, down into the floor. And notice how you feel, how your body, that part of your body now feels now that you've released all of that tension. And sitting for a few moments and take in the body as a whole. Right, so now the entire body. We often take our time and we separate pieces of our body out, but really it's one whole organism, mind, body, and soul. So take in that beautiful mind, body, and soul of yours this morning, or whenever you're doing this video, if you're listening to the video, of course. And maybe there's great sadness, maybe there's anger, maybe there's joy or elation or calm or disgust. Whatever's happening is okay. Can we learn to accept it? Accept it all as it is. And can we allow those emotions to live in us, but also to be messengers, right? But I think we live in a society where we're told that happiness and joy are about the only things that we should feel, but that I don't believe that to be true at all. I think every day and each moment of the day that can change and we can feel multiple things. And that's the experience of being alive. And maybe for next Wednesday, I'll try to find a poem. There's a beautiful Rumi poem, and he talks about how you invite all of the guests in to sit at the table. It gets me emotional just talking about it. And you invite them all in to your table, and they sit at your table with you. And it's then when we invite them in and when we all sit together and accept this journey called life, that's when the juicy stuff really starts to happen. So allowing yourself to feel, to be. And again, if anything does rise, it's not that I'm trying to shoo it away, right? But just now, for me, when I got emotional, I notice what happens in my body and how my shoulders started to get tense and how my chest felt a little constricted and my breathing got a little shallow. My eyes got a little tight. And then I just notice and I breathe into it. And in time, I can let that tension dissipate. And I can know I'm going to be okay. Bring your palms. Actually, I'm going to bring them into a slightly different place today, just so you know. You're going to bring your right hand up on top of your heart center. Your heart. I could just say your heart. And then the left hand is going to come over top of that. So my hands are on top of each other in front of my heart. And this is one of the mudras for loving kindness, one of the hand gestures for loving kindness. And so as we hold our hands here, let's take a moment and send out to ourselves first loving kindness, saying internally to yourself, may I be well, may I be peaceful and at ease, may I be happy, and may I be free. And then maybe thinking of somebody else whom you love, whether they're with us or not, and saying to them in your mind's eye, right, your imagination, may you be well, may you be peaceful and at ease, may you be happy, and may you be free. And then let's send that out, all of us, at the same time to everybody, everywhere, every being in the world. And we say, may you be well. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be happy. May you be free. And then we'll bring our hands into the more traditional prayer gesture. And namaste, friends.